If you're a tourist traveling around China, then there's every chance that Beijing is top of your bucket list. And so it should be, thanks to its amazing array of world-class heritage sites. But aside from its rich culture and history, it's also home to 22 million people, many of whom are familiar with a completely different side to the city. So today, I'm going to share with you the 18 things, both old and new, that you cannot miss if you pass through Beijing. Let's start with an obvious one, the 2,000-kilometer long Great Wall of China. You cannot come to China without going to the Great Wall. Out of the dozen or so sections that are located to the north of Beijing, some of the best are the restored section of Mutanyu, which is great for taking photos. If you're after something a little bit different, then head to Jinshanling, which has a restored section and also some wild sections. But if you're really after an adventure, then go to Great Wall Fresh, which is a family-run guest house that offers wild camping, so you can wake up to a sunrise on the Great Wall. Back in the city, the logical place to start is right in the center of Beijing, Tiananmen Square. This huge open space was the birthplace of the People's Republic, and now, quite fittingly, is the eternal home of its founder. It's pretty interesting, but it is just a square after all, and I would recommend that anybody walk north towards the portrait of Mao and pass through the heavenly gates into the Forbidden City. Sometimes historical sites don't always live up to your expectations, but this epic palace that was home to 24 emperors, thousands of concubines, and no doubt countless dramas of betrayal is every bit as fantastic in real life as it is in the pictures. It's a sprawling complex of 600-year-old ceremonial and political buildings surrounded by fortifications and moat, which takes hours to explore. This is not to be missed, so consider booking tickets in advance as entrance numbers are limited. In order to tick off the next historical site, then head west to the Summer Palace. This ensemble of lakes, gardens and palaces is the perfect place to escape the summer heat of Beijing. Remarkably, the main lake was entirely man-made, and the excavated soil was used to make the hill that overlooks it. It's easy to see why many emperors chose to cool off here. But when they were in need of some spiritual guidance, or they wanted to pray for a good harvest, then they headed down south to the Temple of Heaven. An imperial complex made up of religious buildings, the most iconic of which is the Hall of Prayer for Good Harvests. Many people choose to combine a trip to the Temple of Heaven with a visit to Hongqiao Market, aka the Pearl Market, which is located directly across the road. This is the perfect place to test out your bargaining skills. You can grab some gifts for loved ones, a knockoff handbag, and, of course, some pearls. It's great fun, but I personally prefer the Panjia Yuan Antiques Market, where you can get some more traditional souvenirs. Also, just up the road, there's a glasses market, which is huge, so you can go there to get some cheap specs. If you're into traditional Chinese arts, then you won't want to miss the chance to see the Peking Opera. A centuries-old drama performance that is a unique blend of music, song, dance and acrobatics. For me though, I prefer people watching on Beijing's ancient alleyways, known as hutongs. The most popular are in the area of Gulo, near the Drum and Bell Towers. The main thoroughfare, Nanlugosheng, is quite touristy, so try and get off this to some of the side streets to get a taste of real life. Some of my favourites are the hutongs around Dongsi, Tiananmen, and the avenue of Wudaoying, which is conveniently located right next door to the Lama Temple, one of the more unique temples in Beijing due to its blend of Han Chinese and Tibetan architectural styles. But let's get back to the staples of Beijing life, top of which must be the food. Beijing duck needs no introduction, and if you want to try the best in the city, then my personal favourites are Sijumen Fu, also known as Peking Chamber, and Jingsen. Dadong is the most famous and priciest, but I'm yet to try it. Other notable local favourites to look out for are jiajiamian, Beijing-style hot pot, jianbing, Yanjing beer, and beibingyang, a tasty orange soda. If you want authentic cuisine but you don't know where to start, then head over to our friends at Lost Plate, who will take you to the best spots in the city. Beijing has loads of amazing food and drink options, so if you're wanting to avoid piling on the pounds during your stay here, then be sure to take a walk in one of the city's many beautiful parks. The locals' favourite is Beihai Park, an iconic symbol of Beijing, although many tourists love its smaller neighbour, Jingshan Park, because of its views over the Forbidden City. For me, no trip to the capital would be complete without going to the Olympic Park, not just because of its beautiful lakes and woodlands, more because it's home to the ultimate symbol of modern-day Beijing, the Olympic Stadium, aka the Bird's Nest. This amazing structure is just as cool to look at in person as it appeared on the TV back in 2008, and you can even take a walk on the roof. The 2008 Olympics were undoubtedly the event that changed the world's perception of China and led to the city being given a modern facelift, which is continuing to this day as ever more cool buildings pop up. Architecture buffs should head to the CBD to see the uniquely shaped CCTV headquarters and the epically tall CITIC Tower. Across the city, the Galaxy Soho building, National Theatre, and Taikoo Li Mall complex in Sanlitun are other notable highlights. Sanlitun is the centre of Beijing's nightlife scene and boasts many world-class restaurants, bars and clubs. It's also the playground of Beijing's rich kids, and whilst I enjoy the odd visit there, I prefer to hang out in the hutong bars of Gulo at night. In the day, I like to head up to the northeast and go to the 798 Art District. 798 is basically a complex of decommissioned military factory buildings that are now home to art galleries, shops, restaurants and a whole lot more. I love how the vibrantly coloured street art clashes with the rusting machinery, and this is one of my favourite places to wander around for the afternoon. After a day on your feet, you're going to need somewhere to lay your head, and Beijing is not short of hotels and hostels to suit any budget. If you're after something a little bit more special, then head to the Muji Hotel, right beside Tiananmen Square. Or if you want a more authentic experience, then head to the Orchid, a boutique hotel nestled in the hutongs. If you want to wake up to views of the Great Wall, then head to the Brickyard, although you will have to hire a driver to take you there, as it's located next to the Mutianyu section of the wall, which is over an hour's drive away from the city centre. Getting around the city itself is simple enough thanks to its amazing subway system. I would actually list this as its own attraction, given that it's such a marvel of modern engineering. It is made up of 23 lines and 405 stations and is the world's longest metro system, yet it is surprisingly easy to navigate. If trains and planes float your boat, then I would recommend watching my video about China's awesome infrastructure. If you're more of a culture vulture, then think about subscribing to my Patreon to stay up to date with the clips and videos that I share about my daily life here in China. Either way, thank you for watching this video and be sure to subscribe to stay up to date with all of my city guides coming up. Leave me a comment below and let me know where I should cover next. I'll see you next time.